We're all about joy today. I love presents. I'm just planting that seed out to everyone. I love presents, so this is a fun day for me. I love watching other people get presents. I love wrapping presents. I love opening presents. One small joy I had was when I was wrapping the present for, I was bringing a couple extra ones, so if you didn't bring one, there's Kenny. And I know you can't see this online, so I'm going to explain it to you. I wrapped this up. Do you see how perfectly this bow matches this paper?
Ooh la la.
This brought me joy because I liked the paper, I liked the bow, but I thought, how am I ever going to find paper to match this crazy bow unless it's a solid color? How am I ever going to find a bow to match this paper unless it's pink or black, right? And so when I pulled that out, and I pulled all my stuff out, I thought, oh, what a small, beautiful joy.
Yeah.
I match up these two crazy prints and they have all the same colors. And you know what I did? I just went, I kind of dampened my joy down. Because what a silly thing to be joyous about. Silly, so I dampened my own joy. Have you ever done that before?
Oh yeah.
So I think dampening our joy is one way that we create an obstacle to expressing our Christ nature. So when this hit me, when I realized I was dampening my own joy, you know what I did? I took a picture of that present and I sent it to all my friends. And I said, look at how perfectly these match. I love it. And I sent a video, a Snapchat video to my best friend, squealing about this matching bow and paper. And my friend says, what's in the present? I said, I don't know. That's not what matters here.
That's right.
So I want to talk a little bit about how joy is necessary for us to express our highest selves. The season of Advent is about preparing for the Christ. We do that externally, right, about Jesus, but we do it internally about ourselves and our inner Christ nature. And we have to have faith. We have to believe that is a thing. We have to believe that we are expressions of the divine, right? For us to access that part of ourselves, we have to have some ability to have peace in our hearts, right? Because when we're ranting and raving in the chaos of life, we can kind of miss it. So we need to be able to have peace. We need to be able to access love, to have love in our hearts, so we can feel the connectedness, the oneness that we have with every other being, every other part of creation. And then joy. And then joy. And joy is one of those things that I really think we are trained, I guess, conditioned to dampen our joy. When I was young, I was told, don't you get too big for your britches. I didn't know what that meant, but I did know that it meant that I was having too much fun. That's what that meant. I was either being too sassy or having too much fun. Don't get too big for your britches. We're conditioned to dampen our joy. Many years ago, I was I used to host a pub theology. We'd go to a bar, we'd have beer, and we'd talk about theology, we'd talk about God, consciousness, that kind of thing. And during one of these sessions, somebody said, well, can we start today's session with we go around and say something we're grateful for. Yeah, I'm all for that. That's a great idea. And I said, I am so glad that today is Cleaning Lady Day. I am so grateful for my cleaning ladies. And someone at the table said, must be rough to be able to have cleaning ladies. And I immediately dampened my own joy. Immediately. Oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't say that because some people can't afford it, blah, 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 blah. And then I got defensive. And I said, you know what? Back in the day when I was a single mom and I was on welfare and I was working 2 jobs, I still had cleaning ladies. Why? Because that brings me joy and I don't like to clean. I would barter to have a cleaning lady. You're a single mom, I'll babysit your kids, I'll take them to the park all day long if you clean my house. But did I need to justify the fact that I have cleaning ladies? I don't think so. Another time I was, well, let me back up a little bit. So one piece of advice that I got from my first Unity minister that I really took to heart was to develop and nurture friendships and relationships outside of ministry. People who have nothing to do with Unity, nothing to do with church, nothing to do with being a minister, nothing, none of that. And so I was out with some of my friends, and we're all talking about our jobs and different things. And I was really excited because I had a new aha understanding about some Bible story, and I don't even remember what the Bible story was, but I was so excited about it. And I was talking about it, and this guy says to me, he says, I'm not interested in hearing about that. I was kind of crushed in that moment. I was kind of crushed. Because I was really filled with joy of being able to have a new understanding of this Bible story. So I want you to think about your life and how you and others throw a blanket over your joy. How do you tamper down your own joy? And who in your life is trying to get you to cover up your joy, or just bring it down a couple notches? Don't be quite so excited about it. Be happy about it, not joyful. Be happy, not joy-filled. Why? Because the more joy-filled we are, the closer we are to expressing our divine nature, and that is freaking scary. It is. It's scary to witness in another. Why is it scary to witness in another? Because if you are expressing your divine nature, and I don't believe I have that, we are separate. And you're moving away from me. You're growing away from me. So after a couple of those, once I became aware of other people kind of tamping down my joy, I decided I needed to find a way to respond to that in a loving, without being a jerk, right? Without getting defensive and without being mean. I needed to find a way to respond to that. And I had another opportunity recently. It was a very similar thing. I was talking to one of my non-church friends, and I was really excited. I don't even remember what it was. I was really excited about something, and they're like, that means nothing to me. And I said, I am not sharing this with you because I think you care about ministry. I'm sharing this with you because I thought you cared about my joy. and that person in front of me shifted on the spot and said, oh, if that's what this is about, tell me. And then they had questions, as if they were interested in ministry and what I was talking about. They weren't. But now they were interested because I owned the fact that I was sharing my joy. So think about how your joy is tamped down by yourself or someone else. How might you respond if your joy is being stepped on? I'll tell you, once you become aware of it, it's really hard not to get defensive or mad. Like, why are you dissing on my joy? Gosh, that hurts. Once you become aware of that's the fact, that's what's happening, that becomes really hard to be with in the moment. And so I always say, have a hip pocket response. Have a response right ready in your pocket. How are you going to respond? And this goes for yourself and others. So like when I was wrapping that present and I became aware that I was like, that's a silly thing to have joy about. I reminded myself that everything I do is a spiritual experience. And if I'm wrapping a present and I find joy in the fact that I matched two pieces of festive paper, yay me. Yay me. I might have gone a little over the top sending pictures to all my
Reverend Sarah, for some people, cleaning brings them joy.
So Chris in the back says, for some people, cleaning brings them joy. So here's the thing. You know what brings me joy? A clean house. You know what does not bring me joy? Cleaning that house. So I find a way, whether I am a single parent on welfare or in a financial position to freely hire someone, I find a way to get my house clean because that brings me joy. It also keeps me on my toes. Every other Friday, I'm like, I gotta clean the house for the cleaning ladies.
Yeah.
But we are here to live a joy-filled life. Now, I don't expect, and I'm not telling you that every moment you should be like, whoa, filled with joy, right? However, I believe that is possible. I believe it's possible. So one of the things that I do in my life is I say, okay, I know that as I build my capacity to experience joy, get what I said there? Build my capacity to experience joy. As I build that capacity, I am creating the atmosphere in which I can more easily express my divine nature. Joy is just surrendering to this physical life experience. If you are truly joy-filled, you are not in resistance. If I asked you a question of what kind of person do you think of when you think of a joy-filled person? How many of you think of children? Right? Because that's easy because they haven't been messed up by society yet. They haven't been taught to dampen or tamper down their joy. So they just run around like crazy beings, filled with joy, having a great time with a cardboard box. And that where I got the idea that no matter what we're doing, nothing is too silly to be joy-filled about, even wrapping paper. Nothing is too small, nothing is too big. And I really think that over our years of adult life and, our older childhood, over the years we are conditioned to squelch our joy. And if any of you need permission to let loose and go crazy and be joy-filled, I'm giving it to you now. Right? Someone in the back. Because this is our job. You've probably heard me say before that we all have the same life purpose. We all have the same life purpose. You say, what is my life purpose? I'll tell you what your life purpose is. To know your divine nature and live it. To know you are an expression of the divine and live as you know that. That is your life purpose. Now, how that shows up, that's going to be different for all of us, right? We're all unique. We all bring different skills and abilities. We all bring our different stuff. So it's going to be different. Some people are going to be up in front of people, like I am today. Other people are going to be like quiet, behind the scenes. Yeah, don't look at me. I'll express myself quietly over here. Both are fine. Both are great. And whatever our personality is, joy is a big part of being able to live from our divine selves. Because I know from probably too much experience, I know how many times that still small voice within me was telling me to do something, was telling me, laugh out loud about that. Squeal with joy about that. Go talk to that person. And I don't know, whatever I'm afraid of, whatever I'm worried about, people judging me, that's my big thing about being kind of like not laugh super big out loud or squealing with joy is, I don't know, I like this like stoic expression, I guess, I don't know. Blame my family. Don't express too loudly. It makes everyone uncomfortable.
Right.
But I know those times when that little voice inside of me was telling me, express, express, express. Let it out. And I just, pull that back in. That's uncomfortable. But it's like anything. With practice, it gets easier and easier. And pretty soon, you're Snapchatting all your friends with pictures about wrapping paper. And your special friends get a video with a squeal.
Ooh.
I think about it now and I'm like, I don't know what my friends think. But I don't care. I don't care because that's all part of it, right? And I bet you know someone in your life who lives a little more freely than you do with their joy. And have you ever wanted to like squash them down a little bit? Or maybe you felt envious? That's where I always went. Gosh, I wish I could do that. You know what one of the things for me was? Singing out loud. I've been lip syncing most of my life. For whatever reason, I don't know. Because I'm not a very good singer. But I've been lip syncing most of my life. A couple of years ago, I decided that's ridiculous because I like singing. It's fun. It's joyous. I was thinking, poor Gina, I was sitting right facing her, and I'm singing Hark the angels.
Thank you.
Out loud, full, out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm never going to be the one up here leading the song, but I can fully participate in the joyous experience of it. So before we go into meditation, what we're going to do is we're going to think about how we dampen our own joy, how we stifle ourselves. And we're going to think, so just intellectually right now, think about all the ways that you hold it back in. For me, the physical feeling of it is almost like I have said words and I'm trying to pull them back into my mouth. That's the physical feeling, is just this, I gotta hold it in. I've talked to people who, for them, it's a tightening of their stomach. Like I gotta tighten up and hold it and not let it go. One woman told me that her knees clench. Whenever she stifles her joy, her knees clench. So think about when you hold yourself back, what do? And in what circumstances? Is it singing? Is it singing out loud? Another way that I stifle myself is when I'm mad at my partner. He's ticking me off. And then I have that moment of I want to express some love. I'll pull it back. He doesn't deserve that today. He hasn't said sorry yet. Whatever it is, right? So how do you hold back your joy? And in what areas do you want to express your joy more freely? For me, so all of these meditations that I share with you, these are practices that I have in my own life, right? Because I'm all about the practical application of what we say we believe. And for me, my big thing this year is I want to freely express to my, whether it's my lover, my friend, someone who used to be my friend and is no longer my friend, my adult children, whomever, my board of trustees here at Unity of Fredericksburg. I want to be able to freely express how I feel, and I want to freely express my love. That's how I want my joy to go to the next level, right? So how do you want to more freely express your joy? So I'm just going to talk for a minute, and you think about that. Actually, I'll be quiet for a minute. You just think about it for a minute. How do you squelch your joy, and how do you want, in what areas of your life do you want to express it more fully? Has everybody got something? Has everybody got something? You got something in mind? So now that we have intellectually thought about this, now we're going to take this to our heart space. So let's just take those 3 deep breaths with an audible exhale. Together. Again. One last time. Let's focus on the heart space. Acknowledge and embrace that indwelling Christ nature. Embrace the knowing that at the core of your beingness, you are sacred. Imagine that this part of you has a desire, and the only desire is to be expressed, to live life as you. Focus on this core of sacredness. And bring to mind the joy in your life. And in the past, we've quelched and squashed down our joy. And let's just open our spiritual eyes and our spiritual ears and our spiritual heart, our spiritual mind. Just open up for any insight from divine wisdom, any insight about how you've been squelching down your joy. What do I need to know about my tendency to squelch joy? And keeping our focus on our heart space. How might I express joy more fully? How might I express joy more fully? might I express joy more fully? Whatever has come to you, I invite you to take this moment of collective sharing, collective introspection. Take this moment and set your intention. How will you cease squelching your joy? How will you express your joy more fully? Own it. Commit to it. Imagine, sense, and feel the universe conspiring right now to help you make this happen. That means you will have opportunities to squelch your joy. And you get to remember to cease squelching your joy. You will have opportunities to express your joy. And when that happens, remember this moment and your commitment to be the Christ in the world. And so it is. Amen. If you're like me, you forget often. You forget what happens in your meditation. Write it down. I am the queen of Post-it notes. I have Post-it notes depending what it is, what I'm committing to. I have them on my work computer. I have them on my bathroom mirror. I even have a couple in my car. Mine says express joy because that's what's going to remind me. So I invite you to own this. Own this and live this. Namaste.